Solvete discipulia discipuli, capitulum quartum, possessive words. So we're now in Scyna Secunda, and we've started to see a lot of possessive words. The two main ones we're going to see are Eius and Suus. Now notice already they're a little bit different. Now these are possessive words. The possessive words we currently know are words like meus So everybody point to yourself and say meus. We also know tuus So go ahead and point to the screen and say tuus. And today we're going to be talking about the third person. So don't point to yourself, don't point to the screen, point either to the right or left and say Eius or Suus. All right, so meus is when you're talking about yourself, the speaker. Tuus is when you're talking about whoever you're speaking to. And Eius or Suus talk about a third person. And they do it in slightly different ways. And that's what today's video is going to be all about. Now, notice Eius begins with the letter E. So like ayum and ayam, it's going to be a pronoun. So it's a possessive pronoun. Notice the ius at the end, Eius, kind of looks like the question word cuius, which is a possessive question word. And Suus you see I've listed in green. Those are its nominative spellings. Us lets us know this word is an adjective. So it wants to rhyme, it wants to agree with its noun. Meus and tuus were also adjectives. That's why we saw phrases like in familia mea and baculum meum, things like that. So it wants to rhyme, it wants to agree. All right, so we're going to talk about each one of these third person possessive words in turn. And for each one, I'm going to give you some sentences or some situations from chapter 4. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions about each sentence or scene. I want to know who the subject of the sentence is that has these possessive words in it. And I want to know who possesses the item in the sentence. So every situation will have a main person we're talking about and an object that we're talking about. So we want to know who the subject of the sentence is, and we want to know who the possessor of the object is. In other words, whose object it is. Now I want to start with this possessive adjective suus So you're probably going to see spellings like suum and suo because it's an adjective and it wants to rhyme. So anyway, here's our first sentence. Julius servum suum maidem videt. First question I'm going to ask you is about the subject. I'm going to say quis maidem videt. All right, quis wants to know what person did the action maidem videt. All right, so when I say quis maidem videt, in place of quis, you should put the subject. So hopefully you're able to do that, and you say Julius. So everybody, when I say quis maidem videt, you say Julius. Quis maidem videt? Julius maidem videt. Okay, so that's how we're going to do the first question. Now the second question wants to know who possesses the item. Notice that suum rhymes with, agrees with servum. So servum is the item that is being possessed. So I'm going to ask the question, cuius servus est. There's a servus in the sentence. It belongs to somebody. Cuius is our possessive question word. So we need to figure out who the owner is. And then we're going to spell them in the genitive, in the blue. Well, as it turns out, Julius is the owner of the servus. So when you answer this question, you want to give the possessive form of Julius. So if you know the possessive form of Julius, please say it now. If you said Julii, you are right. It looks like the plural, but that is the possessive singular. So when I ask the question, cuius servus est, you say Julii or Julii servus est. So let's try that back again with this one. Julius servum suum maidem videt. Quis maidem videt? Hopefully you said Julius. Julius maidem videt. Cuius servus est? Julii. Hopefully you said Julius servus est. All right, here's a few more of these. Davus qui dominum suum non videt, maidem interrogat. First question, quis dominum non videt? Hopefully you said Davus. Davus dominum non videt. Davus is the subject of the sentence. Remember, the subject is in the nominative case, likes to come first. Now we're going to ask our possessive question. Notice suum agrees with dominum, so we want to figure out who the owner of the dominus is. Cuius dominus est? So you say the name of the person, put it in the genitive case. If you said Dawi, you were correct. Cuius dominus est? Dawi dominus est. All right, let's go on to a few more of these. Davus saculum suum in mensa ponit. Ponit is that downward motion. So first question, quis saculum ponit? That's right, Davus saculum ponit. Now, suum agrees with saculum. So my next question, cuius saculus est? Dawi saculus est. So hopefully you said Dawi. So you're getting the idea here? When I say quis, you give me the name of the person who is the subject, nominative. When I say cuius, you give me the owner of the item in the genitive case. Possessive. Looks plural, but it's not. Julius baculum suum in mensa ponit. There's that downward motion again. First question, quis baculum ponit? Julius baculum ponit. Cuius baculum est? Julii baculum est. On to the next one. Davus saculum suum sumit. Sumit is an opposite action. It's upwards instead of downwards. Quis saculum sumit? Hopefully you said Davus saculum sumit. Cuius saculus est? Hopefully you said Dawi saculus est. Maedus pecuniam domini in saculo suo habet. Notice suo here is spelled a little differently. It agrees with saculo. It gives us a location. We're going to learn soon that that is the ablative case, but things don't change. Quis pecuniam habet? Maedus pecuniam habet. Now, we're interested in the owner of the saculus here. So, quis saculus est? I'm sorry, cuius saculus est? Maedi saculus est. And we have one more, I believe. Julius baculum suum sumit. Upward motion. Quis baculum sumit? Julius baculum sumit. Cuius baculum est? Julii baculum est. All right. So, what did we notice about those? First off, hopefully we notice that suis aum has the same case, the same number, the same gender as the noun it describes. It agreed with the noun, it rhymed with the noun, therefore it's an adjective, a possessive adjective. So you always know what's being possessed with suis aum because it'll agree. It tells you, baculum suum. Oh, the baculum is being owned here. Did you notice that suis aum shows that the noun it describes is possessed by the subject of the sentence? Did you notice that when quis was answered by Davus, cuius was answered by Dawi? When it was Maedus, it was Maedi. When it was Julius, it was Julii. The SU on suis says, oh, the subject of the sentence owns the item that I agree with. So meish, you point at yourself. Tuish, you point at whoever you're talking to. Suis, you point to some person over there, but they're the subject of the sentence. They're the subject of what you're talking about. If you did not notice either of those things, rewind the video, go back and check those things out. All right? So let's go on to Eius. Notice Eius begins with an E, just like Eim and Eam. That makes it a pronoun. It replaces a noun. It's a personal pronoun, which means it replaces a person and sometimes a thing when it's neuter. And that it's genitive singular. The ius is like cuius. It's genitive. It shows possession. So you're going to see that in blue an awful lot. So we're going to do the exact same thing. I'll read you a sentence. I'll ask who the subject of the sentence is, where the item is that we're interested in. And then I'll ask you who the owner of the item is, cuius. All right. Julius saculum habet. In saculo eius pecunia est. Now this first one's a little tricky. We're interested in the saculo. We're interested in the sentence eius is in. So I got to ask you the subject of in saculo eius pecunia est. So, quid est in saculo? Notice I'm not asking quis. In this case, it's not a person, it's a thing. So, quid est in saculo? Hopefully you said pecunia. Pecunia est in saculo. If you said Julius, think about that for a minute. Julius est in saculo. I hope not. Anyway, don't go to the subject of the first sentence. Go to the subject of the sentence eius is in. And in this sentence, pecunia est in saculo. Now, we're going to go back to our second question, cuius. We want to know the owner of the item that eius goes with. Notice that eius is right next to a noun. So we're going to say cuius saculus est. So in saculo eius means the saculus belongs to somebody. So cuius saculus est. Find the name of the person, put it in the genitive. Hopefully you said Julii. So that saculus in the second sentence belongs to Julius from the first sentence. If you said pecuniae, well, the saculus doesn't really belong to the pecunia. The pecunia is in the saculo, but doesn't really have a possessive relationship there. All right, let's try another one. Hopefully this one's a little bit easier. Davus saculum habet. Saculus eius in mensa est. First question, quid est in mensa? Saculus est in mensa. Hopefully you didn't say Davus est in mensa, right? It's not where he's supposed to be. Next question. We're looking for the possessive. Cuius saculus est? Hopefully you said Davi saculus est. Saculus does not belong to the mensa, it belongs to Davus, and we have to give the possessive form. Next one. Davus saculum habet. Saculus eius vacuus est. Quid est vacuus? Saculus est vacuus. Cuius saculus est? Davi saculus est. Hopefully we're starting to get at the pattern here. Davus saculum habet. In saculo eius est unus nummus. Quid est in saculo? Nummus, or unus nummus est in saculo. Cuius saculus est? Davi saculus est. Metus saculum habet. Eius saculus non est vacuus. Quid non vacuus est? Saculus non vacuus est. Cuius saculus est? Medi saculus est. All right, so let's see what we noticed here. Did you notice that eius refers to someone other than the subject of its sentence? Perhaps even someone from a different sentence. So just to go back, eius does not tell you that it's not referring to the saculus, which is the subject of the sentence it's in. It actually refers to metus, who is the subject of some other sentence, someone else. I like that eius begins with an E, like the word else. Suus begins with the SU, subject. Eius begins with the E, someone else. Possibly someone from a different sentence. And in our situations there, it was always someone from a different sentence. Did you notice that Eius often appears next to the noun possessed by the person Eius refers to? Well, like an adjective, it kind of wants to go next to what it possesses. And we saw the genitive was a way to describe, showing possession describes something. So Eius usually will go next to whatever's being possessed. So just like it was in sakulo suo, it was in sakulo Eius. Kind of goes where an adjective does. Did you also notice that the question kuius and the pronoun eius both have the same ius ending? In fact, that's one way you can tell that they're both showing possession. Again, if you did not notice these things, rewind the video, watch those examples yet again. All right, so that concludes our video on suus, the possessive adjective that says the noun it agrees with belongs to the subject of your sentence, and eius, the possessive pronoun that says I don't belong, or the noun I agree with doesn't belong to the subject, it belongs to somebody else. Either way, we're not pointing at ourselves, we're not pointing at who we're talking to, we're pointing to some third person. Either the person we're talking about, suus, or someone else, eius. All right, thank you for watching this video. Waleta discipuli et discipuli.